Hello, it's Robbie back again for part 2. In this part we will be covering creating a new world and the settings that are available to us when we do that. To get started, you need to click on the play button. Once we've done that, we can then click on the create new button down at the bottom left. Once that comes up, we've got a couple of options for creating new worlds. Create a world based on a template that Minecraft has supplied or somebody has uploaded to the Minecraft education website. We're going to start off with just a new world to see what settings we can change. The first thing that we can do is to give the world a name. I'm just going to use test for this one. You can choose anything you like. The next setting we've got is the game mode. So the game mode is what players will be put into when they first join the game, and I've got a couple of choices for that. The first is survival. So in survival game mode, players start off with nothing in the game. So they have to collect resources to build and craft items and tools, and they can also be hurt and they can die in the game. The other mode we've got is creative. So in creative mode, players can access an infinite amount of blocks and items and are virtually invulnerable. So depending on what kind of world you're trying to create, normal gameplay is probably in survival mode, but if you want your students to have free access to materials and to be able to build wonderful creations really easily, then creative game mode is probably the way to go. The next setting we've got is difficulty. So this one kind of really only applies if you've chosen survival as your game mode. So difficulty in a world controls which mobs, so mobs are the animals and monsters that are in the game. It determines how they spawn, so how they appear, and what damage they can do to the player. In peaceful mode, no hostile mobs will spawn at all that can damage the player, and players don't get hungry and they regain their health rapidly. So the easy to hard levels, hostile mobs will spawn. For each level that you go up from easy to hard, it's going to get harder to kill the mobs and they'll do more damage to the player. Seeing as we're using Minecraft as an educational tool, it's probably better if we leave difficulty on peaceful, and then there's less distractions from monsters trying to kill players while we're teaching a lesson. The next thing we've got on our list is a permission level. Generally, we always want to leave this set to member so that students can create and break blocks. If you click on the menu, there are explanations for each of the permission levels that you can set. Next up is world type. There's only really two choices that we need to look at here, and that's flat and infinite. So infinite worlds, the terrain randomly generates as you explore it. So you get different biomes and features appearing as the world expands. Flat worlds, as the name suggests, are completely flat, and they're great for when you want the focus to be not on the world, but on the learning task itself. For example, when teaching and using the code builder feature of Minecraft education. If we scroll down, we can see some of the more advanced settings. Most of them can be left as they are, but you may want to change some of them. Activate cheats. So this needs to be enabled if you want to run any commands in the game. We'll be covering commands in a later module. Code Builder allows agents to be used and the Code Builder to be launched from within the game. Always Day turns off the regular day-night cycle in the game. Nighttime is when hostile mobs spawn, so this is another way of controlling game difficulty, but it's also useful for keeping the focus on your lesson. Show Classroom Settings opens up a whole new section. Perfect weather turns off rain, snow and thunder, which is another distraction that we can sometimes do without. The Allow Mobs option gives us the opportunity to actually turn mobs off, so we can have no monsters or any other animals spawning in the game. Allow Destructive Items is definitely one that I turn off most of the time, so that prevents your students from using TNT to blow up parts of the world and destroy others' creations. Player damage can be turned off as well if you so desire. That stops the player being hurt by full monsters attacking them, catching on fire and that sort of thing. If you don't want your world to be changed at all, you can make it immutable by toggling the immutable world option. And the final one is another one that I generally turn off, player versus player damage. So that prevents your students from killing each other while they're playing in the game. Once you've chosen all your desired options, you need to generate the world. Hitting the host button will create and open the world ready for others to join. Clicking the play button will create the world, but you'll be the only one playing. And that's what we're going to do so that we can learn a bit more about the game. In the next part, we'll go over the game controls and how you can move around and interact with the world.